Okay, so welcome back to our tutorial. So this is the part 3. So I'm going to show you how to save this data from our grid view to our table. So we have this table, TBL purchase. So I want it when we click save button. So the data inside our grid view will be saved to our table. Okay, for example, the product, before it will be saved, we will get the product ID of this item, like Milo. Then the product number from TBL product will be, instead of the product name, we will be saving the ID number of that product. Then the date purchase, so we will get the system clock, then we will save it here. So we will base the date purchase from our system clock. Then the quantity purchase, so the quantity entered by the user, just like this one, so we'll be save it here. And the amount, so we will save the amount. Okay, for the purpose of, for example, we will create a report instead of we will get data from table product, so we just use the amount here. Then OR number, since we don't have yet in OR number, so we will just leave it null. Okay, so let's do the coding now. Okay, so first, so let's add some code it here. So we will save the entry of this. Let's start the code. So first we will create a loop. Okay, so we will loop all the entry of our grid. Then each row, we will get the data from each row, then we will save to our TBL purchase table. Okay, so we will use the for each loop instead of the for looping statement. So for each loop is a loop designed for an array. So since Datagridview is an array, so we're gonna use for each loop. So in for each loop, we will use the Datagridview row method, Datagridview row method. Then we will assign it to a variable, just like row variable. Then followed by the in command, then the name of our grid view. So the name of our grid view is grid. I forgot the name of our grid view. Okay, let's check. Okay, the name of our data grid cart. Okay, so data grid cart. Okay, data grid cart. Okay, so then we will use the row method, rows. Okay, so in this line of codes, so we will get all the data from our data grid cart grid view. So each row, so this code will read the data each row. You can access the data from this row variable here. Then we just specify the cell or the columns. So first for our product, and so we will get the product, the quantity purchase, and the amount only. So unit cost and cost is available in the product table. So we will just get the cell number, cell 0, cell 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, cell 3 and cell 4. So all we need is to get the column 1 and the column 3 and the last for the amount column 4. Okay, so before we save to our table this data from our grid view, since we do not have a product name here, product name is in the product table, so instead of the name of the product, so we will get first the ID of that product, and that ID will be our key to connect these two table purchase and TBL products. We will, instead of the name of the product, we will save the product ID. So first we gonna look for the product ID, then we will search for that particular name of the product, then we will get that product name, we will get that product ID, then we'll be replacing it here, or it will be inserted here. Okay, so this is the product name. So I'm gonna assign this one to a variable prod name, and this will be my key to search for the ID of that product. Then we will create another query here, string query get, I will call this get ID. Okay, and I will create a query. I will get that ID from table product, select ID. So this is our product, so I will select the ID only. From what table? TBL products. TBL products. From TBL products, where? Okay, prod name. So this one, prod name is equal to, okay, this one. So this is gonna be our, this will make us our key to say to locate that ID. Okay, so I will call this PD or prod m. Then I will create a, we'll just open the connection. What is the name of our class? Connection class is DB. Okay, so let's open the DB class. Then I will create a MySQL command, cmd get ID. I'll call this get ID. Then new MySQL command. Then we will use the query string, and let's open the let's add the connection on DB. Then next we will add data from our parameters. Add. Then we'll use this prod m. We will assign data for this parameter. Then the data came from here, since we will be getting the ID of that product. Then we will execute the command, since we get only one data, so I will create another variable to get the ID. Then I will execute the command. So I will use the execute scalar, since we only pull out one data. Then since the ID is an integer, I will convert this one to an integer. Okay, convert to integer. Then, oops, what happened to this one? ConDB. Okay, we need an open method. Then we will close natin yan. That close. So we get the ID now. We assign it to the ID variable. Then what happened? Why we got some error here? cannot convert to object string. Cell dot value that to string. Let's try. Okay. So we get the ID. Then we can now insert it to the TBL purchase table. So we'll be inserting the data from our grid view to this table. Okay, so we can open another connection. TP open, then we will just closing it. Then we will have another query. I will call this query insert. Okay, so we will insert the data from our grid view. Insert into the table name that we are going to use is the table purchase. Into, then first we gonna insert, we will be using the prod ID, and instead of product name, prod ID, then the quantity purchase, QTY purchase, then also the amount. Okay, the amount. Okay, then the last is the date purchase, date poor. Okay, date poor. Then we'll add another SQL command, same the insert, then new MySQL command. Then okay, we forgot the values of that field. So first I call this PID. The second parameter is QTY. Third parameter is AMT, and the last is DT. Okay, let's assign value to that prod ID. Since we get the ID already, instead of the name, we will replace the ID. Then, we are still not. Okay, mali. Okay, we will use the insert command tv.onlyb. Okay, so we will use the insert command, then we'll add data to our parameters. Then we will assign value to our parameters. Since we get the ID of the product, then same the insert parameters that add, so the data from parameter QTY, so this we get data from this. Okay, then copy this one. And next is the amount, parameter AMT, so we will use the cell 4. Okay, then the last is the date. Okay, so for the date, so I'm going to get the current system time. So to do that, you can use the datetime function. Then now, okay, sometimes this causes an error. Okay, because the format, it depends on the format of the date from your computer. Sometimes the format is not fitted to the format of MySQL date format. Okay, for example, in TBL purchase, let's edit. So the format of the date should be first the year, then followed by the month, and the last is the day format. So when when the format of your system time or system date is not the same with the format in MySQL date format, it will cause an error. So before we gonna save to our table, we will just convert. Okay, so we will convert to the MySQL format. So y specify the 4-digit year. We have the capital. We'll make it capital so that the month should be 2 digits and also the day should be 2 digits. Okay, then we will now execute this. Okay, let's execute this command. Okay, so after saving to our table, the next we are going to do is we will add the quantity. We will add the quantity. So we will update our product table. Okay, so we will adding to our quantity on hand. Okay, so the quantity, since we are purchasing a product, so we will be adding this quantity to this quantity on hand, which is in our table products. Okay, so how we are going to do that? So we will just updating, so we will just updating. So first we will get what product, since we already get the ID. So we will getting first the ID, then we will get this data, then after getting that data, we will adding this row cell 3. Okay, so first we will get the quantity first from our table. So we just copy this one, okay, it's the same code, but instead we'll just use the table products. Okay, then what we need is the quantity on hand data. So instead ID, QTY hand. Okay, then we will get the ID. Okay, this ID, since we already get the ID of the product, so we can use the ID here to be matched. Okay, to be matched with the ID of our TBL products. Okay, ID, okay, I will call this one ID parameter. Then we will get quantity. We will rename our query get quantity. So this one will be get quantity. Then instead of pad name, we will get the ID. Then instead pad name, we will get the ID. Okay, so we got some error. Okay, so we will I will, since the quantity is integer, so I will use another variable quantity. So we now get the quantity. Okay, instead of ID, okay, so in this code, so we are getting the quantity that match the ID. Okay, the ID of each row. Then we assign to the quantity variable. Then this quantity variable contains the quantity on hand of that product. Then the next we are adding. Okay, we will be adding this quantity. This cell, this is the quantity purchase. So we will be adding it here. So we will add this Okay, so we will create another variable, int quantity on hand is equal to, okay, this one plus this one. Okay, then we will convert this one to integer. Then we already added the data. Then we will i-update natin ito by replacing it. Okay, so let's add another query here. So we'll just use this one. db close. So first we get the ID of that product. Then next we insert the data from our grid view to our table. Then next, in order to update the quantity on hand, because we will be adding the new purchase item to the current quantity on hand. First, we will get the current quantity on hand. Then we will add the quantity purchase. This is the quantity purchase and the current quantity. Then we will replace it to our TBL product. Okay, so we will create another query, string query update. Okay, to insert, we will use the update command, update SQL command. Then we will use the table products, update table products, followed by set. Then we will replace QTY hand. Okay, we will replace QTY hand with this one. Okay, so we'll add another parameter, QTY hand. Okay, then where, so we will, because if we don't make conditions, so it will replace all products with this data. So we will specify what product are going to updated. Okay, so where ID of this, okay, equal to this ID. Okay, so we will create another MySQL command, cmd update new MySQL command. Then we will use this query. Then we will use our connection. Then we will adding some parameters, value. So our parameter is QTY and with this QTY hand. Then we also get the parameter of this ID, so came from this, then ID. Okay, then we will execute the command. Okay, execute. Okay, so let's try to run. Okay, so for example, Milo, so we have Palmolive, we have quantity 10. So let's try if this will be updated. So Palmolive, we will buy 1, add. Then Milo, we will add 2. So 1 will be deducted to our Palmolive, then 2 for our Milo. Then we will save. Okay, we got some error. Okay, parameter ID must be defined. Okay, so we are getting the quantity here. We forgot to replace it. Okay, let's start. Palmolive 1, Milo 2. Okay, save. Okay, so this should be refreshed. Okay, so instead we will look at to our table. If this will be updated, so Milo should be added by 1 and Palmolive will be added by 2. Okay, so you see it's updated. For example, we will for our Ovaltine we will be purchasing 20. Let's add, save. Okay, let's look at our table. So it's updating. So that's it. It's very simple. Okay, so after saving, we'll be clearing our Datagridview. Okay, so data grid cart, we will use the rows that clear method. Okay, so example, we will purchase. Okay, we will purchase. We'll add Milo. We'll be adding 100. Add, then for Ovaltine, we will be adding 50. And for Palmolive, we will be adding 50. Add, then we will save. Okay, so let's check. So we will make a code to refresh that. Okay, so the quantity now are updating. Oh, the Palmolive not updating. Okay, Palmolive 100. Add. We got Ovaltine. Add. Okay, save. Let's check if it's updating. Oh, it's updating, but the Ovaltine it's not updating. Okay, so since this is we are using the loop, so we only just loop one row and the data is cleared, so this should be put it outside the loop. Okay, try. Okay, for Milo, let's add 200. Then for Ovaltine, let's add 200, and Palmolive, let's add 200. Save. Okay, let's check. Okay, it's updating. So that's it. Okay, these are all the codes. Okay, so thank you for watching. Okay, just watch out for my next tutorial.